I'm Annette Herrmann, and I'm very, very happy to be here, and I'm very appreciative that I was asked to do a seminar doll for you, so thank you very much, and I hope you like her. And I was asked to do a little bit, I thought for the first time with me being here, I'll tell you a little bit about myself and how I got started, and then we'll go into the story of the little ballerina that is part of the seminar. So, I'm a little bit nervous. I usually do this, but it's different when you talk about yourself in front of a lot of people, but it will get better. So, how did it start? Well, my husband asked me to get a hobby. So, that's how it started. And my mom, I'm from Germany, and about 25 years ago, a long time ago, porcelain doll making became very, very popular in Germany. And my mom made me a porcelain doll at a studio in Germany, and for Christmas. And I was like, I was like, oh my God, I love dolls anyway, but I never had seen something like that. And I told, at work, I told a guy at work, oh, I have like this porcelain doll that my mom made, and I wish they had that here in the US. And he said, oh, my neighbor has a doll studio. So I went to the doll studio, and I got hooked. I took every class available at that time. They had a lot of classes with Bell. Some of you might remember, and Seeley's. And I got like master's and grandmaster's degree in how to make porcelain modern reproductions. And it was like molds like Diana Effner molds, Heidi Klusok molds, Donna Rupert was really big, and we just loved making those. So what happened is then I kind of said, I want to do something else. Then I got into antique reproductions and did the same thing, got like masters, grandmasters, lots of classes. I must have spent a lot of money to just get that education. So I said, okay, what's next? And I said, I want to try sculpting. And so I took a class in sculpting. And I was like, I wasn't really happy with the sculpt. And if you look at the paper I gave you, the first picture on the top, that was my first sculpt ever. And it was with a sculptor, I think his name was Goldstein, I only remember the last name. And I was not happy with that doll. But I also helped my friend from Germany sell doll wigs and doll clothing. So I was at a show in Fort Lauderdale, a Christmas show, and I met this nice couple, Berdine Creedy and her husband, who had just moved here from South Africa. And they were selling their molds. So I said, I love your work. And I tried sculpting, but I forget it, it's awful. And she said, show me I said, the doll is here. And she said, show me your doll. So I showed her the doll, and I said, look, the forehead is too long, the mouth comes out, it's not recessed, it looks awful. And she goes, look, if you know what's wrong with the doll, I can teach you how to sculpt. And I was her first student in the United States, and she invited me to come up for a long weekend to her house, and I basically took the first class with her. It was just me. And then I took like 4 or 5 total classes with Berdine on how to sculpt. And really, she got me started. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. Then I took a lot of other classes with Sissel Skille. I don't know if you all know Sissel. I took classes with Hildegard Gansel. I took classes with Philippe Fourreau, and they're all wonderful, wonderful artists. And then so finally, after taking a lot of classes and practicing, I decided to do Expo. It was Expo East in Washington, D.C. in 2000. So I've been making dolls for 22 years. And so on the handout, I gave you a couple of pictures of my first doll. Was the one on the top left. Her name was Erica, and she got a Nodi Award at that show. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. So And then for 10 years I made like 24-inch porcelain dolls and 28-inch porcelain dolls. And I really, really enjoyed them, and I tried to costume them and make, put the accessories with them. And really enjoyed it. But then people were, collectors, the industry changes, and collectors didn't want big dolls anymore. So probably after 10 years I started making small dolls. So on the second page, you'll see my first porcelain smaller dolls. They were between 8 and 10 inches. And but then even that changed. The industry constantly changes. And people didn't want porcelain anymore because it breaks. So I kept saying no. Everybody went into vinyl and resin, and I'm like, no, porcelain, that's my thing. And but then it became, I realized like about 3 years ago, I said, okay, I'm going to do a BJD, a real BJD. So I made my first 21-piece BJD, also in porcelain. And she is on the second page with the bluish hair, when you see examples of BJDs, Moki. So she was limited to 6. And I made her 6 times, but porcelain in that size is extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. So I said, okay, I'm going to try this. So 3 years ago, I introduced my resin dolls here at Modern Doll. And MJ brought one. This is Luna. So I introduced Luna here 3 years ago. And what I do, because I still, this is so big I made, I still like the porcelain. It's just something I like the look. So what I did is I sent a porcelain over to the factory, and I said, I want that color. I want it to look like a porcelain doll, even if it is a resin. I want them to look like porcelain. And I also limit them to 60 pieces, so there's not, a lot of them out there. So this is my first doll, Luna, and she was limited to 60 pieces. And then you see so the first doll under the example of BJDs is Moki, and then the other 3 on that top row is Luna. And I like to dress them like one-of-a-kinds. I usually do one-of-a-kinds unless I do like a seminar, because everybody wants the same doll. But then I made her very special and did some extra, so she is really, really special. I think she's special, the doll you will be getting. And then she sold out. So then my second sculpt is Emme, and I have Emme here at the show. And she's also limited to 60, but then I made her in 3 colors. So I have her in the porcelain color, which I like because it looks like porcelain. And then I have her in sun-kissed and in a chocolate color. And the doll you will be getting is a chocolate Emme. And then next year, I'm going to do, I have the samples here so you can see them. I did 2 new sculpts because I wanted to make sure I have, enough dolls. And I did 2 new sculpts for next year. And they're Tara and Aylin. And they'll also be limited to 60. So my dolls will always be, very limited, usually one of a kind, or like at a special event like Modern Doll Convention. I might do a small series of them, but never, there will never be a lot of them out there. So, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about myself. I'm good with it at my booth. I can talk to you all day long, but in front of a big group like that, it's weird.
Look how sweet she is. And the outfit's completely handmade, hand embroidered. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons from Patreon: Lindsay S., Leah W., Doreen Z., Janice H., Mercedes W., Cindy K., Bear Sunflower, Diane B., Kelly L., Cindy L., Krista R., Victory Ron, Shorna R., Shira Star Hobby, Stephanie W., Jessica S., Ray M., Asia C., Shalane C., and Penny P. Your support means so much to me and helps me continue bringing you great dolly content. For more information on how you can become a supporter of this channel, please see the link in the video description. Thanks for watching!